I would like to invite you to do a thought experiment with me now and consider the following. Let's say you were to take a box of porous media and duplicate it. So you had two identical boxes and they've got, some pores and some grains inside here. They're supposed to be the same, all else equal. And the first box is going to be saturated, and the second box is going to be unsaturated. And the definitions of these is that at saturation, the volumetric water content is equal to the porosity. All of the pores are filled with water. In an unsaturated condition, the volumetric water content is something less than porosity. So there's still water in here, but it's clinging to the edges of the pores. So there's a lot of airspace as well in here. All right, the thought experiment is to do the following. Tilt these two boxes sideways. Let's say that you had, some sort of flow in and out. Their water was able to flow across the edges. And ask yourself, is the flow out the same? The answer, of course, is no, and I think you have some intuition there. There's going to be more water flowing out of this one than this one. And so it turns out that the saturated hydraulic conductivity is greater than the unsaturated hydraulic conductivity. And we know that because one, there's less resistance to flow. So if the water that has to flow right next to a grain is going to be slowed down by friction from that grain. The water that's flowing in between two grains, there's less resistance, one. Two, there's shorter flow paths. Here, you've got to take a pretty tortuous pathway because you're clinging to these edges of the grains, whereas here, you can flow right through the middle. And three, there's just more water in here. There's more water flowing. In general, we can describe hydraulic conductivity as being a function of the saturation state. And so this is commonly denoted as K is a function of theta. And this is just something to keep in mind. Unsaturated flow is lower, it's slower. So slow, fast. It's slower than saturated flow for this reason. And it's more accurate to describe K as this function rather than a single constant that never varies.